All right, so now I'll jump in. So this morning I'll be presenting an overview of the cost-benefit analysis that I conducted for site underride guards. I originally completed this report in May of 2021 and submitted it to NHTSA. In May of 2022, I updated the analysis and the report and again submitted it to NHTSA for consideration. Did that go on to slide 2 or no?
Oh, not yet.
Here we go. I'll get it. A cost-benefit analysis. Since 1993, the U.S. Department of Transportation has issued cost-benefit guidance on valuing the reduction of fatalities and injuries by regulations or investments. I used their guidance to conduct a cost-benefit analysis for adding side underride guards to new semi-trailers. A cost-benefit analysis provides estimates of the anticipated benefits that are expected to accrue over a specified period and compares them to the anticipated costs. This U.S. Department of Transportation guidance ensures that the economic costs and benefits of road safety measures can be monetized and compared, hopefully leading to informed decision-making. The objectives. In this report, I estimate the costs associated with the installation of side underride guards on new semi-trailers and compare these to the anticipated economic benefits of preventing fatalities and reducing the number of serious injuries from side underride motor vehicle crashes. The purpose of presenting the benefits and costs is to place in perspective the economic losses and societal harm that result from side underride crashes, and also to provide information to evaluate the economic effect of NHTSA enacting a regulation mandating side underride guards on new semi-trailers to reduce or prevent these impacts. For those of you that don't know, an underride occurs when a vehicle collides with a semi-trailer. Due to the height differential, bypassing the vehicle's safety features because the point of impact is usually the passenger compartment and not the front bumper of the vehicle. Frequently, the vehicle goes partially or completely under the semi-trailer, causing the passenger compartment to be crushed when it contacts the semi-trailer, resulting in death or severe injuries for the occupants. Side underride guards are a flexible or solid metal frame or cable or nylon webbing that can be affixed onto the sides of semi-trailers to prevent vehicles from going under. The U.S. Department of Transportation guidance provides up-to-date cost estimates for fatalities and serious injuries resulting from large truck crashes. For fatalities, the estimate includes the average cost of a crash in which at least one person was killed. The costs reflect the value of the remaining life years lost by the victims of the crash, in addition to the other costs associated with the crash, such as treatment of injured victims, property damage, and congestion delays. For serious injuries, the estimates include the average cost of a crash in which at least one person was seriously injured and includes medical treatment and rehabilitation costs, as well as quality of life losses for injured individuals who suffer long-term disability from the crash. The benefits of side underride guards. In this report, I estimated the anticipated economic benefits of side underride guards through a reduction in the likelihood of fatalities and the prevention of serious injuries. There are approximately 7.5 million affected semi-trailers out of about 11 million semi-trailers on the road for side underride guards. Because only about 300,000 semi-trailers are manufactured annually, the analysis anticipated that side underride guards would be proportionally phased in over a 15-year period as the semi-trailer fleet is replaced with guarded trailers. Therefore, the benefits measure the economic value that is reasonably expected to result from the installation of side underride guards on new semi-trailers over this 15-year period. The costs of side underride guards. The anticipated costs estimate the economic value over this same 15-year period that is reasonably expected to result from the installation of side underride guards related to manufacturing, installing, and maintaining side underride guards on new semi-trailers, including the potential impact of weight or payload displacement. The methods I used. The general methodology used to calculate the anticipated benefits and costs of side underride guards. 1, I estimated the annual economic impact of fatalities and serious injuries from side underride crashes, using the fatality analysis reporting system and through the published literature to estimate the average number of fatalities per year from semi-trailer side underride crashes. Due to the documented undercounting of the FARS data, I bracketed this estimate to examine and capture a range of fatalities of vehicle trailer side underride crashes. Next, I calculated the annual cost of fatalities from semi-trailer side underride crashes by multiplying the 2022 U.S. Department of Transportation valuation by the number of fatalities per year and then the range of fatalities. I also calculated the annual cost of serious injuries using the same 2022 U.S. Department of Transportation valuation multiplied by the average number of serious injuries per year. For these monetized estimates, I used a range of values for the effectiveness of side underride guards as well in preventing fatalities and reducing serious injuries. Next, I estimated the unit cost of a side underride guard to be installed on a new semi-trailer. I used a range of cost estimates to evaluate, for example, the effect of mass production on a side underride guard by a semi-trailer manufacturer, which would lower the cost and other possible costs to the consumer. 3, I also used the reported industry data of the average annual miles per gallon fuel economy for a loaded tractor and semi-trailer to estimate a reduction from the potential weight impact of a side underride guard on fuel economy, and estimated the miles per gallon of diesel fuel saved from the installation of an aerodynamic skirt. Finally, I calculated the return on investment using the estimated net present value, or NPV, which follows the U.S. Department of Transportation's cost-benefit guidance from 2022. They recommended that NPV, which is estimated by subtracting the estimated cost from the benefits. If the benefits exceed the costs, the NPV is positive, and the regulation should be considered to be economically justified. I should note that the NPV should also be considered a minimum estimate because it does not incorporate additional potential benefits to the trucking industry, such as lower legal and court costs, insurance cost reductions on premiums or settlements, or fewer workplace impacts, such as PTSD for truck drivers involved in an underride fatal collision. Parameters. For the parameters in the analysis, I assume that the baseline risk of between 200 and 1,000 annual fatalities a year and between 1,000 and 5,000 annual serious injuries per year would remain constant from side underride crashes in the absence of side underride guards. In the published literature, testing and modeling demonstrate that side underride guards are expected to be highly effective and reduce the risk of annual fatalities and serious injuries. Therefore, I used both 50 and 89% effectiveness of SUG, of side underride guards. The 89% came out of a published study. I didn't round it up to 90%, I just used the 89%. The U.S. Department of Transportation 2022 cost estimates for the average large truck involved fatality is almost $13 million. The average large truck involved serious injury is a little over $300,000. I used an associated Excel spreadsheet for all of the calculations used in this report. These are some of the other parameters that I used in the cost-benefit calculations. I used a unit cost of $1,000 for each semi-trailer pair of side underride guards, but I also evaluated $2,000 and $4,000 per installed side underride guard to account for the possible range of costs related to purchase price, maintenance, or other potential costs, such as, for example, the addition of an aerodynamic skirt. About 80 to 90% of cargo space in a semi-trailer usually fills before they reach the 80,000 pound weight limit, which is reflected by the average operating cost of 63,000 pounds for a loaded semi-truck or trailer. This is usually known as a semi-trailer cubing out before it grosses out. Therefore, it's volume limited most of the time rather than weight limited. To put this 80,000 pound weight limit into perspective, the average weight of a side underride guards is currently about 500 pounds. However, there's also braided cable or nylon webbing designs that are about half this weight. The average moving speed of a loaded semi-truck and trailer is 51 miles per hour, with an average fuel economy of 6.6 miles per gallon. At this speed, along with the average 105,000 annual miles driven by a loaded semi-truck and trailer every year, there's a high potential for fuel savings costs using the aerodynamic skirts. The important part, the results. Here's some of the results. The bolded second row of this table presents what I believe to be the most likely net present values over the 15-year cumulative period as the side underride guards are phased in. In this table, the cost of a side underride guard was estimated to be $1,000. The second row, as you'll note, uses a 50% and an 89% effectiveness rate of side underride guards in relation to 500 fatalities and 5,000 serious injuries annually. This achieves a net benefit of $24 billion to $48.7 billion. The addition of aerodynamic skirts results in additional cost savings or fuel savings for an overall benefit of $53 to $79 billion over the 15-year period. The report also contains numerous other tables of other estimates. For example, the $2,000 cost of side underride guards or the $4,000 unit cost of side underride guards. All of these conclude that the economic benefits substantially outweigh the costs. In conclusion, using 500 fatalities and 5,000 serious injuries per year, I estimated the cumulative 15-year societal benefits of installing side underride guards on new semi-trailers would save at least 3,560 lives and prevent almost 36,000 serious injuries over the 15-year period. As demonstrated in the report, the economic benefits would greatly exceed and fully offset the overall costs of the side underride guards. After the fleet is turned over, side underride guards have the potential to save 445 lives a year and prevent 4,450 serious injuries per year. I found it interesting that the addition of a 250-pound aerodynamic skirt to the possible 500-pound side underride guard and using a fuel efficiency increase of the skirt of 5% achieves an annual fuel reduction savings of 700 gallons of diesel fuel, which is about $4,000. Using a 5% fuel savings is still much lower than most manufacturers of aerodynamic skirts have reported. But conservatively, this fuel savings would completely offset the entire cost of a side underride guard in the first year after installation. So in conclusion, I found the estimated NPV is positive, following the guidance of U.S. Department of Transportation, and that a regulation for side underride guards would be considered extremely cost-effective because the overall economic and societal benefits of installing side underride guards on new semi-trailers substantially outweighs the costs. And that's all I have. And the reason I do this, as I mentioned, is because I lost my son Riley in 2015 to a side underride collision. Thank you. Questions?
Wow, that's excellent, Eric.
Thanks, Steve.
Eric, have you received any feedback back from NHTSA on your first or second?
No, we've met with them, as you might know, numerous times. I've given similar presentations to them. When we met with them, Ryan Poston, who's in charge of the rulemaking branch, said that the work that we had done would not be in vain, and we don't really know what that means.
Wow.
So the interesting part of all of this and what we were trying to refute, maybe I'll show you one more slide that I have on here. Yeah, this is the interesting one. So in 2006, the TTMA contracted Robert Shelton, who used to work for NHTSA, to conduct a cost-benefit analysis on side underride guards. Using his faulty analysis, which we went over this substantially in Riley's lawsuit when my family sued Utility Trailer Manufacturing Company. And what we found was in the Shelton report from 2006, he substantially undercounted the number of fatalities that would be prevented by side underride guards, concluding that only 5 lives a year would be saved. Using that faulty logic, you come up with $47 million per life saved. Completely bogus analysis. So what we've recommended to NHTSA in submitting this cost-benefit analysis is that, number one, they discontinue its use because it's faulty and it's not repeatable by anybody. The cost-benefit analysis that I conducted uses all the parameters that are in the published literature or reported by the industry. There's no assumptions in there. It's, you know, easy 6th grade math in Excel spreadsheets that follows the guidance that NHTSA puts out.